The light can never be extinguished by evil.
If you like builds that evolve, builds that feel safe, and builds that can handle basically anything that the game throws at you, this one's for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited to share something that's kind of special to me with you today. I've been working on this Paladin build for a really long time. Not intentionally, just only working on this, but it's just something I've had in the background, and now with the Reign of the Warlock update, it's really folded into something very complete, and I feel like it's just an amazing Swiss Army knife of a build that can do everything, and it's finally ready. So this is a hybrid Fist of the Heavens and Blessed Hammer Paladin that scales from a solo self-found ladder starting perspective up into a mid-budget, kind of middle ground, all the way to a full endgame kind of unlimited budget. And all three of those versions feel like their own unique character, and they are very different, and it's really cool to see that through a progression. So let's jump in. So, why does this build exist? What's the point? For me, Fist of the Heavens struggles with certain monster types, with animals. Can't kill them. Blessed Hammers struggles with undead. This is a hybrid build that solves the weaknesses of both. It's also extremely safe, very smooth progression, and extremely flexible for whatever situation that you want to put in front of yourself. It uses gear that most builds and guides don't recommend. There's certain pieces that I just feel are really awesome that stand out, and it makes that really fun for me. Now, let's talk about the three identities, kind of depending on where you're at. There are three very distinct identities for this build as you progress, and it's a really sweet progression as you move through. So one of the coolest things about this is just that identity piece based on the budget tier. So maybe you're a brand new player, or you're just fresh starting ladder. This low budget or the solo self-found version is going to be the one that takes you through all the way through the end game with nothing. So it's not, each of the three is not just the same build with better stats. They each have their own identity, different mercenaries, totally different ideas for how they're using their gear. So the low budget version is kind of like a standard paladin, but a unique take on the mercenary. The mid-budget totally flips that. It's going to be more of a standard mercenary, but a little bit of a unique take on the paladin. And then when you move into the high-end, kind of unlimited budget version of the build, you're going to have a pretty unique mercenary with a unique setup on the paladin. So it's really cool how it grows like that, and I'm just really excited to share it with you. Basically, if we start from ground zero here and you want to level up a level 1 paladin, I always recommend starting with Holy Fire. You can just run a Holy Fire paladin all the way to Act 4 Nightmare. But basically, you're just going to max out Holy Fire as you get it at level 6, and your aura pulse will start basically killing everybody on the screen as you level through the campaign. I only put points to Holy Fire and its main synergy, Resist Fire, as you unlock that and have extra points. A lot of people put points to Zeal. I feel like it just holds you in place and you don't really attack that fast anyway. I just go with 1 point smite, 1 point charge to be able to move around quickly, and just smite and normal attack. That does wonders for me. So let's go ahead and first off talk about the skills and the stats. Now the cool thing here is the skill tree is going to stay the same across all of the builds. Now I recommend this only until you get into Act 4 Nightmare and you're up into like the levels 50 plus. You're going to need 1 point into every single skill here. Either it's going to be a utility skill that you use, like Holy Shield, or it's going to be a prerequisite that you need to get down lower, like into Fist of Heavens or something. So the first skill that you're going to max out is going to be Fist of Heavens. And then you're going to max out the synergy for it, Holy Bolt. We're not going to worry about the lightning damage whatsoever. The Holy Bolts that pop off the main Fist of Heaven bolt, the Holy Bolts spread out and just destroy groups of demons and undead. It's amazing. The Holy Bolt itself you're going to use a lot as well. It's going to do more damage than the Holy Bolts that come out of Fist of Heavens, and it also is going to heal your Mercenary. More about this later. You're going to also want to make sure that you've got those 1-pointers that you're going to need. So when you go to your offensive auras, you're going to need to put 1 point all the way down into Fanaticism. This is because eventually you will be going melee with Smite, but also you might want to farm torches, so this will get you into that without having to do any kind of respecs, but you're going to need it later anyway, so that's really cool. Now for Blessed Hammer, going with the skills that you're going to be maxing, so you got FOH and Holy Bolt, you got your 1 point wonders, you're going to max Blessed Hammer. You got 1 point to concentration. That's all you're going to do. And then you have your 2 synergies for Blessed Hammer. You're not going to be able to max both of them. I like to max out Vigor first. That is because when you're early leveling, you could throw that on in town or when you're running around and just run around a whole lot faster. It helps the gameplay speed up a little bit, helps you get to where you need to go. Now, you also want to make sure you're going to on the defensive, get down to a 1 point into Redemption. You're going to flash this aura every now and then, and it will replenish your life and mana beautifully. Let's go ahead and talk about the stats just really quick. I mean, this is pretty simple for most builds. It kind of doesn't change here either. You want just enough strength to wear your gear. Now, if you're going to be doing some gear switching for Ubers or anything like that, you just want to make sure you take that into consideration. Dexterity, just enough for maximum block. Always make sure that you cast Holy Shield before you apply your dexterity for block. But you also want to make sure that you're casting Holy Shield on maybe your lowest blocking shield or with the least amount of skill points for a setup that you will use. That way you have the max block with the least amount of influence on block, if that makes sense. You just want to have max block on all your setups. One also quick note on Holy Shield while you're leveling. I kind of don't like to use it too much when you're early levels. I like to get the point out of the way, but it only lasts for roughly 30 seconds. I think it's 28 seconds, and it's annoying to cast all the time. Once you get a few plus skills, like with Spirit Sword or something, it's a lot easier to use, a lot more convenient. Anyways, stat points. The rest of everything goes into your vitality and nothing into energy. Pretty standard here. Again, this is the same for all of the budget tiers. Now, let's go ahead and move into the actual tiers of this build. So let's start with the low budget or the solo self-found new player, new ladder tier. Let's just call it the solo self-found tier. The identity of this is it's a pretty standard paladin. There's not much new here that we're doing, but you have a pretty cool, unique mercenary. Let's start by gear. The goal you're looking for here for your weapon is going to be a spirit sword. Overall, we want to reach the 75% faster cast rate breakpoint on this tier of the build. 75 feels great, nice and smooth. Spirit sword. Moving on to the shield, same thing. Cool thing about the paladin with a spirit shield is that the 4-socketed auric shields, the paladin shields, drop way before monarchs do. Monarchs are in hell difficulty. You can start finding 4-socket paladin shields in Nightmare. And they can come with an innate all resistances on it. So find a 4-socketed paladin shield with as much resistances as you can and keep these on hand. You want to use them for spirit, and you also want to use some for socketing just perfect diamonds in for Ubers, if that's something that you're going to do. More on that later with the gear swaps. Now the armor, you're going to be going for a stealth. Very easy to make. You're probably going to be able to make it in Act 2 if you do a couple countess runs in Act 1 in normal. 2-socketed armor, Tal Eth, really awesome. You also want to keep in mind down the road, you'll probably want to make a smoke. That 50 to all resistances is really great. You just need to find a lum rune. You'll find one, don't worry. Helmet, we're going with a lore. Now all of these are really sweet because you could make these. You could find the runes for these and make them. You don't need to rely necessarily on RNG. Obviously you have to have the rune drop, but you can go fight the countess and you will get these runes. Now moving across the amulet, really all we're doing is filling in gaps here. Obviously if you could find anything with the plus skills, paladin skills or combat skills is going to help. You're probably really going to be looking for mana and any resistances that are going to help you. A lot of people go with like lightning resist. I find that those cold frost novas when you kill cold enchanted enemies hurt really bad. I like getting my cold resist up. It's Dark Horse. You don't notice how much that cold damage is hurting you. So now same thing with rings. You just want to fill in resistances. This becomes more important in the higher difficulties, obviously. But in every difficulty, having some resistances is going to help you. Mana is just really convenient to have. You don't necessarily need to have the mana, though, until you start casting things, which is going to be at the end of Nightmare. So, just as needed. Belt, anything with life, resistances, mana, just whatever you really need the most of. Gloves, if you find any that are the caster gloves, mage fist, or triangles, that is excellent. Can't bank on them, so just anything that you find to fill in the gaps, life, mana, resistances. Boots, same thing. Faster run walk is awesome if you could find them. You can shop these at merchants. Super easy. I recommend. If you can get faster run walk with the resistances, on point. Now switch, you're going to want to shop yourself a teleport staff. You could start getting these in Act 3 from Ormus. If you're in Act 3 and you're under level 24, just look for a staff that is red, because teleport is level 24. You won't be able to use it. So red staffs. There you go. You will find them. They're not hard to shop. Now that's just your basic kit. Obviously, if you find anything that's better than those items, if you find a peasant crown, that run walk on there, I think there's faster run walk on the peasant crown, really great. If you happen to find a Viper Magi armor, yeah, use that. Obviously anything like that. So just keep an eye out for things that help cast rate, things that help mana, things that up your resistances, paladin skills. Just look for those things. Obviously, if you drop a Shaco, that would be super amazing, but we can't bank on these things, so that's why I set you up with these runewords. Now, a pretty common drop that is going to be your best in slot is Hell Warden's Will. Awesome. You find that, there you go. That's going to be the helmet that we're going to use in the later budgets anyway, so that would be an awesome find. And obviously, any good resistance charms, keep those on hand. Don't throw them away, keep them. Especially if you're going to do Ubers, keep them in your inventory or in your stash, and then just load up your inventory. Another armor you might want to look for this tier is a Treachery. Only if you're going to be really running the Ubers. Otherwise, you don't necessarily need to worry about it, but it helps a lot. You're going to want to look out for, like I said, 4-socket Paladin Shields, 3-socket Phase Blades, because we want to talk about our Mercenary. Our Mercenary we're going to use for this, and instead of an Act 2 Mercenary with Insight, we're going to use an Act 5 Frenzy Barbarian. And the chase, the first real chase for this, and it's not that hard, is a Lawbringer. 3-socket sword, hopefully in a Phase Blade for a fast attack speed. You just need a Lem rune and a Ko rune. And what you're going to get with that is a Sanctuary Aura. As you can see from the footage, this Sanctuary Aura has saved my life. The amount of tankiness that you get from running the Chaos Sanctuary, which is going to be one of the primary places that you're going to run when you beat Hell or get into Hell difficulty with this build, because it's a prime spot for an FOH Paladin. But with this aura in there, you're constantly having enemies pushed back away from you, and it helps so much. Bad teleports, footage, Also, he casts Decrepify, so they're getting pushed back and slowed down, and their damage is reduced. It's great. Highly recommend it. You put that sword on, and all of a sudden, everything just feels so much safer. Now, the rest of the items to fill in for him are also items that you can just solo self-found runes for. A Bulwark Helmet, it's going to give him damage reduction, life replenish, and it's going to give him life leech. Super legit. That is very helpful for him. The other weapon slot, really easy to make. You can use a strength. You could put a smoke armor. You could put a stealth on him if you just want to make an extra one. Whatever you get that can fill in some good resistances. But I do want to mention here a cool chase for this budget of the build for items that are pretty common to drop that we normally just kind of throw away. Seizabi's set. It's a 3-piece set. The Barbarian Mercenary can wear the full set and still wear a Lawbringer sword. So you get the full benefit of that rune word, and then a really sweet set that makes him very sturdy. I mean, look at the stats on this thing. You get like all kinds of extra damage reduction, resistances, a bunch of life leech, and it attacks fast. Wow. Highly recommend. It's smooth sailing if you got that set. It'll really help you farming up for moving into the mid-budget. Pretty cool. So now, as you can see, the Mercenary is really the identity of this tier of the build. I mean, that Lawbringer is just clutch. Insane safety with Sanctuary. I also want to mention, if you happen to find an Azure Wrath Phase Blade, it also has the Sanctuary aura. It's kind of like a good middle ground until you can get those runes. You can't cast Decrepify, but you still get the aura, still very safe, helps a lot. So yeah, that crowd control, it's hard to beat. He's like a perfect buddy for you. You guys can bro out in the Chaos Sanctuary and just, you know, get down. Boogie woogie. Have you guys tried the Lawbringer Mercenary before? I've been late to the party on this. I mean, I haven't used it much on a Hammerden or RotW Paladin. How about you guys? I feel like this is a really cool fit for the budget version. Another thing I want to mention here is when you're fighting Diablo, there's a positioning trick that just really helps with the safety. You're going to want to use Holy Bolt. So get on Diablo and you want to line up Diablo. Your mercenary is going to be attacking him. So wherever your mercenary went with attacking him, walk away from that. That way when you're casting your Holy Bolt, it goes through your mercenary and hits the boss. So it's damaging the boss and healing your mercenary at the same time. That way if Diablo does his flame lightning hose, he has a pretty good chance of staying alive through that whole thing. So just want to make sure that get that across for you. Help save some gold for the revives. So yeah. Now with this version, I mean, you could farm Hell difficulty Chaos Sanctuary, no problem. You can start farming Terror Zones. I killed a Herald with this tier. So once you've got this basic solo self-found version up and running, you're going to be looking for your next big jump into the mid-budget tier, and this is where the build really starts to feel special. So let's dive into the mid-budget tier. The identity here is that it's now got a standard mercenary, but uniqueness is kind of in the paladin, his setup. To me, this middle ground, kind of where most people are probably going to land, or if you already have some currency and you want to throw it together, is probably where you're going to land. Enigma is what enables it, along with some other key pieces. And so this is where it's special to me. This mid-budget isn't just stronger, it's passively tanky in a way that's even the high-budget version can't achieve unless it's actually attacking stuff. So you've got the options to have damage reduced from Enigma, that's always going to be on you, but then String of Ears, and then magic damage reduction from String of Ears. You could wear double Dwarf Stars for even more, and Fire Absorption. You can wear a Thunder Gods or a Wisp Projector. This is the real secret sauce. Your belt, rings, and amulet have the potential to be completely open for whatever you need in whatever situation that you want. Farm how you want. Have it your way. You're the king. So, on top of this, you're getting the triple regeneration from your mercenary. It's a standard mercenary with prayer, insight, cure. What happens is, if you don't know, the prayer mercenary, his skill that he uses is prayer. So he levels that up as he levels, or plus to skills also increases that. Now it works just like the paladin. So if he's wearing meditation from insight, his skill prayer is still active. But because he has prayer, it's a synergy for meditation. So when he's wearing meditation, he's getting the healing part of prayer. But also, prayer is active, so it's double. But because he's wearing cure, he gets the cleansing aura. And cleansing also carries over the healing part of prayer at his level. So he's getting prayer times 3. It's just a nice little healing, basically a little potion constantly on you. Along with all this extra damage reduction and absorb that you can use, it's just a really sweet, safe build. You can see how it just stands there. I mean, I was able to just stand and terrorized cows. Just other terror zones, I've been able to stand in Travancore, in Venom Lords. I don't recommend doing this, but the point is you're not going to see gigantic damage spikes where you're just going to get one shot. You're going to take some damage, but it's going to be like way more manageable. Then when you factor in that you're going to use Redemption as your main aura, when you need life, you're getting life. You just need to kill some extra stuff, and now you're basically going to be almost immortal. So, this tier is really, really smooth, relaxed, incredibly comfortable to play. I think it's the most chill version. It's the one I played the most. It's the one I've really just brought up the most in the Resurrected before Reign of the Warlock. And it's the safest paladin I feel like I've ever played, and I'm just excited to share it with you. So, let's just go ahead and go over the gear. Obviously, Enigma is what's going to bust you into this level of budget. But let's talk about the weapon. I just love using Suicide Branch here. And getting the 50% faster cast rate completely untethers you with your rings and belt. And also, if you roll a 35% spirit, it opens up your amulet. That is just some super nice freedom that I love having. It's a convenience that just really pays off for me. So, Suicide Branch gives you a 1 to all skills 50% faster cast rate. It gives you some resistances, some life. But what's also really cool about it is it gives you an open socket. What paladins are using Suicide Branch? Looks cool. Anyways, the shield, same thing, spirit again. You're probably going to be upgrading these as you go. So hopefully you got more resistances now. If you happen to roll a 35, faster cast rate, this is a money. With that and Suicide Branch, that would be 85 already. So to hit 125, you just need 40 more. Moving on to the helmet, that's where you're getting 20. Hell Warden's Will. This is a pretty easy find, and it's the best in slot for this build. You find this, and there you go. Obviously, if you get the best the rolls, then you could put an Uber Drool in there, and you're cooking. Now, really quick, let's take a moment to talk about why aren't we using Heart of the Oak? How come we're not using Shaco? Well, I did. That's actually what I used to use before Reign of the Warlock. They're amazing items. They are amazing, and if you have them, you can totally use them. I just don't think that they're what would you say? I don't think that they are the ideal choice for this particular build. They're not bad, though. But let me explain. Shaco is going to give you plus to skills, damage reduction, but it's not giving you faster cast rate. Hellwarden's Will gives you faster cast rate and attack speed. And that comes in clutch, actually, when we start talking about Smite down the road. But because you get cast rate here, you're not getting stuck into specific rings, or your amulet, or your belt. Just really opening up that. So if you want to stack some damage reduction, Redungos, String of Ears. I like String of Ears because it gives you flat magic damage reduction on top of the percent physical damage reduction. Suicide Branch is giving you an additional 10% faster cast rate, which helps cover that gap. So anyway, I'm just looking for the freedom here. I think that's kind of the identity of the build. Shaco and Hodo are great, but they're not the best choices for the build. You could use them as stepping stones if you have them and you're farming. That's fine. Again, let's get back to the rest of the gear. For an amulet, you could use a 2 Paladin cast rate amulet. If you have a 220, this also can be used in a specific setup later. But I actually just recommend a 3 combat skills amulet with 10% faster cast rate. And like I said, you don't need that 10% faster cast rate if you have a 35% spirit shield. Then I would go with something fun, like you could either use life, or I like to use the flat physical damage reduction. You can get up to 25 on this. So if you can get 3 to Paladin combat skills and then some flat physical damage reduction, again, just more icing on the cake to make you sturdy. Rings, these are totally up to you. You could use Stone of Jordans if you want some extra damage. You're not worried about survivability. If you just want to toss on those Dwarf Stars or a Dwarf Star and Wisp Projector, you could use a Nature's Peace when you're farming Nilithok if you want for the Corpse Explosion that has the enemies rest in peace so you can't explode their bodies. It's up to you. This is where the flexibility is. You could craft some sweet rings, and use different gloves or a different helmet, really whatever you want, but I recommend using Hellwarden's Will for the helmet. Belt, I like using String of Ears for this one. Again, just whatever you want to use situationally. For your gloves, I like using Trangle's gloves just because they have the bonus of having some cold resistance there, but if you have Mage Fist, you could use those as well. A little bit of mana regeneration. Boots, you want some resistances and faster run walk. In the high budget, we use Gore Riders. But for now, Nat's boots are also a really good, easy find that has double resistances. Alder's boots are super great as well. But just anything along those lines. We'll have stashed items. We'll have the Thunder Gods and other stuff in the stash. Now let's talk about the Mercenary. This is the kind of just the standard part. Insight. He runs Prayer. He uses Cure. That's that. You can put whatever you want on him, really, for an armor. If you get something with Life Leech, that's really helpful. Chains of Honor, kind of expensive though, but you could use Guardian Angel. I really like that armor. Yeah, safe Mercenary. Really nice. That constant passive healing is just very nice. So, yeah, this level is just very tanky and a lot of flexibility. It's a sweet, very relaxed playstyle. If you want you just got off work for the weekend and you just want to like come over and hang out and watch my channel and play your build, this is a good one. Just saying. Anyways. But yeah, once you're comfortable on that budget, you're going to start slamming high-end content, and you're going to start finding better items, and you might start thinking about how you could transition into the high-end setup, where this build becomes more than just a hybrid caster. It's like a triple threat here, where you're still a hybrid caster with FOH hammers, but you're also melee and can smite things down and become very unkillable. So let's talk about the high budget tier. Now the identity here is, now the Mercenary is changing again to be pretty unique, and then the gear sets that you're going to use on your Paladin is pretty unique. I haven't seen much like this, so let's break it down. The weapon that we choose for the end setup is going to be Call to Arms. That's right. That's your main weapon. We're going to use a Call to Arms in a +3 Fist of Heavens Scepter. If you could find a +3 Fist of Heavens and Blessed Hammer, that is the best weapon you can find. It essentially makes it +4 to both of those skills. So why I chose to do this is because I wanted this build to just tackle everything without having to switch gear. You never know. Maybe I'm in a terror zone and it's hard and I have a herald that's attacking me and it's hard. I want to be able to fight it without having to run to town. I want to press W, switch my weapons, and just go for it. So CTA does a few things as your main hand weapon at the same time. You don't need to consume your entire weapon swap for just having battle orders. Also, it's kind of a stat stick now. You get some pretty good plus to skills with it. So it's not nothing. And you have your whole weapon swap now. So, really big utility there. On the swap side, we go for a Grief Phase Blade. This is going to hit like a truck. You all know that. Now, your main shield on your CTA side is going to be your Spirit. And again, if you can get a 35% faster cast rate Spirit, that's going to help. The shield on your swap side with Grief, you have two options, but I think overall the best option is the Exile. So yeah, ideally the Exile will be in an ethereal elite shield. I like Vortex shields just for the high defense and as high of resistances as you could find. Now this is a hard item to find. You might have to trade. I did find myself a 42 all resistance ethereal 14% superior Vortex shield. I haven't made the Exile yet, but I'm planning on it, so I'll let you know how it rolls. Has anyone else made a good one? I've actually not made an Exile yet on Resurrected. What's your best roll? I'm hoping this thing rolls nice. I'll share it with you. Now back to it. Obviously, we go with Enigma. Now you've noticed this guy looks a little bit different. I kind of went with the aesthetic flex here and went with a full plate mail look. I did that because the armor looks a little bit darker, almost like a dark gray or like a black, and it looks like he's more significant. I just feel like it looks really cool. You don't need to do this. I just think that looks matter sometimes, so whatever. That's me. Now for the helmet, Hell Warden's Will. Eventually you're going to want to farm the Colossal Ancients, and really you could have two of these, one for a physical jewel and one for a magic jewel. And because you could end up setting this up for a little bit more of a physical style. If you want to switch that Exile Shield for a Phoenix, it gives you a little bit more physical damage, as well as some absorption, which is kind of cool. And it also gives you redemption on your melee side while you're using Fanaticism. So, yeah, it's not like you lose tankiness. You still are tanky, just different, because life tap. When I do that, I actually switch Drax. I use Dracula's Grasp Gloves with Phoenix. But it's up to you. You have a lot of options. Really fun. I hope you have fun exploring those. Now, yeah, Hell Warden's Will. After that, again, the Amulet. I like the 3 Paladin Combat. Again, it's for your Blessed Hammer and your FOH and your Holy Bolt. So, up to you. Now, you could use Arachnid Mesh, but I think the best in slot here is going to be Geed's Wager, the new unique Troll Belt. Now, the difference between negative enemy magic resist and plus magic skill damage is pretty big. The negative enemy magic resistance is huge. It is a huge damage increase. It is some of the only sources now that we have of this is from these new items, and I think it's been the thing that's made my Paladin. Basically, my Paladin that I had online, and I could share that with you if you want, is he was like the mid-budget tier using Shaco and Hodo, but after this update, just switching some of these item pieces around and having negative enemy magic resistance, without switching any skills, his damage doubled. Just by some gear pieces, his damage doubled. So that's pretty insane, his hammer damage. Now, I really like the Geed's Wager Troll Belt. Same thing with the rings. I like the new sling rings, if you can get those. It is important to have 20% faster cast rate on your ring slots as well as your belt slot. So if you have Arachnid Mesh now, you could use that until you get a Geed's Wager. If you've got some faster cast rate rings, use those until you get sling rings. The Opal Vein ring also can be used if you get a physical one for Smite. It still has cast rate on it, so just a thought. Now, gloves, I use the triangle gloves for faster cast rate. If you move down to 75 and you want to do more of a melee setup, you can use Dracula's Grasp with Phoenix, or you could still use it with Exile, just for a 20% chance to cast Life Tap, but it's overkill. But you do get open wounds on those gloves, so you can then use Goblin Toe instead of Gore Riders for 25% crushing blow instead of 15. So, you know, just a little bit of things to think about there. And speaking of boots, again, Gore Riders, you can up them if you want. This is a type of build where you can start doing things like that just to add little bits of defense for min-maxing and stuff. So, but Gore Riders, you can use Goblin Toes, like I said, if you have open wounds somewhere else. I just like to have that if you face something chunky, you face Herald, whatever it is. Now, or you might just want to go around with War Travelers and just Magic Find, just pure Magic Find. That's fine. Now, charms, I didn't include the torch on any of the other tiers except for this one, because you probably will farm it, but not too hard to come by on the mid-budget tier. But yeah, obviously your torch, your Annihilus charm. Annies are so easy to come by nowadays. I mean, even when you're online solo self-found, people are selling them. You're probably going to fight Diablo clone on your own. Not single player, though. That's different, so I get that. Now, aside from those charms, it's nice to have some combat skillers if you really just want to go out there and basically one-tap everything with Fist of Heavens, and just anything to fill up your resistances, or Magic Find, whatever you really want to go for. I used to go for a lot of Magic Find and high kill speed, but it's just about the efficiency there. All right, let's talk about the Mercenary. This part's like pretty cool. I realized at a certain point that I have 1 point to concentration. That's not a very high level concentration, even with all my plus to skills. Then I realized, like, wait, what if I put Pride on my Mercenary? Turns out it's awesome. The concentration aura from Pride is higher than what I have, so that's a damage increase. It also frees up my aura, so I can choose to use Redemption, or really anything I want. But if I use Redemption, and I basically one-shot most things, all I have to do is kill something, and I'm getting healed. I no longer need the prayer, the meditation, and I could just make him enhance my hammers and enhance my melee side of things. So I chose to pick a Might Mercenary. So he's got Might and Concentration. Both of those are helping Smite, and the Concentration is helping hammers. On top of that, he uses Flickering Flame to fill in more fire resistances. And then just whatever armor that you want to throw on him. I like Chains of Honor. The Life Leech really, really helps. This Mercenary turns him way more into a stat stick. And yeah, it's an interesting little take on it. He's gonna stay alive. he's definitely gonna be fine. You can Holy Bolt him whenever you need to, if you need to, but things are gonna die so fast. Yeah, it's great. I love it. So yeah, now you can just choose to turn up your survivability if you like by leveraging Life Tap, max resist stacking. You can drop down to 75% faster cast rate and go with all kinds of different absorb pieces if you want. You could have Phoenix that'll absorb fire, give you maximum resistances to lightning and fire. You could throw on Thunder Gods to have lightning absorb, so now you have fire and lightning absorb. Then you still have ring slots open and an amulet. The world is your oyster. So, this is just something that I want to be able to get you into the game if you're a new player, or get you through all of the content if you like, if you're a veteran player and want to try the new content. Now, obviously, if you are running through the game, find some Crown of Ages, I feel like there's a way to loop that into one of the setups for this build as well if you're not trying to focus on magic damage, but I think this is going to be one of the ones that you can go through and just magic find any area in the game, feel sturdy, and have a blast. Hopefully you don't wake up with your corpse. So, to wrap this up, I think it's just safe. And this is the full progression of the build here. You can totally start from solo self-found, and from there you can do all of the content in the game, just depending on how much effort you want to put in for farming. Each of these versions has totally its own identity, plays differently, but it's all part of the progression. Its own personalities. So for me, this is one of the most fun Paladin builds that I've ever played. I hope you enjoyed as much as I have. If you've got questions or ideas, or you want to share your own gear that you've found, or if you're finding new ways to push the build up to another level, like, share it with me. Drop a comment down here. I like to hear it. I read all of your guys' comments, and I really appreciate everybody that likes to come in here and engage and share their thoughts, because we're playing this game together. Even if we might be off on our own and passworded games, whatever, we're here as a community talking to each other and trying to strengthen it and finding new things, even on a 25-year-old game. So I hope this helped you a lot, and if it did, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on the next guide. There's going to be more guides now, I promise you guys. And remember, the light can never be extinguished. Peace out, guys. Love you all.